You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Slap in the face. Trump's USDA is undoing a rule that protected farmers from punishment, based on an article by Brett Wilkins, Common Dreams. Trump picks corporations over farmers again. The real decision makers. The USDA's move to roll back 3 Biden-era protections is being packaged as a technical regulatory adjustment. It is not. It is a political choice to restore leverage to the largest meatpacking and poultry firms and take it away from ranchers and farmers who have almost no bargaining power left. The source is clear about where the power sits. 4 meatpackers control about 80% of the market. When a market is that concentrated, choice is a slogan, not a condition. The companies set the terms. USDA is now helping them keep it that way. What was being stripped away? The rescinded rules were basic anti-abuse guardrails. One barred retaliation against producers who join associations, speak to regulators, or look for better buyers. Another required more transparency in poultry grower contracts. A third would have limited the tournament payment system that poultry companies use to manipulate pay. That is the actual substance here, not red tape, but restraint on dominant corporations. The administration is not correcting an overreach. It is removing protections meant to stop coercion, secrecy, and rigged compensation. Who benefits from the rollback? The beneficiaries are not family farms, consumers, or competition. They are the same meat corporations that have spent years consolidating power while farmers absorb the squeeze. The article notes that consolidation has been linked to higher consumer prices and lower farmer profits. That is the pattern: corporate concentration at the top, financial pressure at the bottom, and Washington pretending this is an abstract policy dispute. Emily Miller of Food and Water Watch names the dynamic plainly. These protections were long overdue, and the rollback serves the corporations that have already abused producers. That is not rhetorical excess. It is the function of the policy. Misdirection as governing style. The framing here matters because it tries to make an act of corporate restoration sound like administrative housekeeping. It is the same old trick. Strip away protections, then describe the resulting imbalance as market reality. Trump's record in the meat sector makes the intent even harder to obscure. His administration refused binding safety rules during COVID-19, forced meatpacking plants to stay open under the Defense Production Act, and shut down a DOJ antitrust probe into alleged collusion. That is not inconsistency. It is a governing model. Protect concentrated capital, absorb the human cost, and call it necessity. Democrats should not pretend this is normal. If a Democratic administration had done this, it would deserve the same condemnation. The fact that a Republican administration did it is not incidental. It is the point. The Trump operation is not confused about power. It knows exactly which class it serves and which group it can sacrifice without consequence. The political lesson is not that markets failed in some vague way. It is that concentrated corporate power keeps winning because institutions keep treating abuse as a side effect instead of the design. When USDA rescinds protections against retaliation and deceptive contracting, it is not neutralizing conflict. It is choosing the side that already owns the field. The pattern behind the story. This is what authoritarian capitalism looks like in agriculture: monopoly power at the top, intimidation down the chain, and government agencies converted into instruments of corporate discipline. Producers are told to compete, but the terms are written by a handful of firms that can punish dissent, shape prices, and dictate survival. The fight here is not about fine-tuning poultry regulation. It is about whether public institutions will restrain monopoly power or serve as its enforcement arm. On the evidence in this story, USDA has chosen the corporations. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article, with the automated voice of Amy. Thanks for listening.